Hey there, Uchimura Cox and Baker Bolt classes. It's time for our first home learning session in maths. Today we're going to be thinking about addition. For this session you will need a 100 square that you can find inside your green learning book, some counting objects. I'm going to use pasta in my example, but you can use any other small object that's easy to move and that you have at least 20 of, some paper, your learning book or a whiteboard, a pencil, pen or whiteboard pen. Adults, before we start, it's important to go through a few counting principles. Principle number 1, the one-to-one principle. Children will sometimes count objects more than once or miss an object out that needs to be counted. Encourage children to line up objects and touch each one as they count, saying one number name per object. This will also help to avoid children counting more quickly than they touch the objects, which again shows that they have not grasped the one-to-one correspondence. Principle number 2, the stable order principle. Children need to know all the number names for the amount in the group they are counting. We can therefore encourage children to count aloud to larger numbers without expecting them to count that number of objects immediately. Principle number 3, the cardinal principle. In order to grasp this principle, children need to understand the one-to-one and stable order principles. From a larger group, children select a given number and count them out. When asked how many, children should be able to recall the final number they said. Children who have not grasped this principle will recount the whole group again. Counting principle number 4, the abstraction principle. When starting to count, many children rely on touching the objects in order to count accurately. We can encourage abstraction on a daily basis by counting claps or clicks. We can also count imaginary objects in our heads to encourage counting on. This involves the children visualizing objects. Counting principle number 5, the order irrelevance principle. Encourage children to count objects left to right, right to left, top to bottom and bottom to top. Once children have counted a group, move the objects and ask children how many there are. If they count them all again, they have not fully grasped this principle. Now that we've touched briefly on the 5 important principles of counting, it's time to begin the lesson. We always start each maths session with some counting, in the same way that we start phonics by looking at the sounds that we've covered previously. We often use a 100 square when we're counting in class, and you can find one in your green home learning book. Okay, so we're going to start counting from the green number and keep on counting until we reach the red number. We'll do a few together to get us ready. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well done if you counted on from 2 and stopped at 10. Adults, it's really useful to ask children to use this 100 square to count on from a given number. This encourages them to gain mastery of the number system, rather than always starting counting from 0 or from 1. Let's try another one. The green number is 8, so you're going to count forwards from 8 and stop when you reach 16. I think you can try this one by yourself at first. Most children will be confident with this by this stage in the year, but if your child is struggling, you can always count with them and point to each number as they say it. Okay, this time we're going to be starting at the green number, which is, that's right, 9, and ending at the red number, which is 21. It might be a little bit difficult when you bridge the number 10 and 20, but I think you can try it by yourself at first. Okay, and let's do it together as well. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Well done if you counted from 9 and stopped when you reached 21. This time it looks like the red number is going to come first, so we must count backwards. We're going to count backwards from the green number 10 and stop when we reach the red number 4. Let's try this one together. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Well done if you started at 10 and stopped when you got to 4. Can you try this one by yourself? Remember, you're starting at the green number and ending at the red number. It can be really difficult, adults, when you move from the number 12 through 11 and 10 to 9, so this might be something you want to practice regularly. This time we're still starting on the green number and ending on the red number, but we're going to be counting in tens. Let's do the first one together. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. It looks like we're counting backwards again. I think you can try this one by yourself. Remember to start on the green number and count backwards in tens until you reach the red number. Well done if you counted from 90 to 20, counting backwards in tens. Okay, so now we're going to start to think about addition. We've done this a bit in class, so I think you can show your adults how to use concrete resources. Make sure you've got your pasta or other counting objects ready. Here I've got two empty groups, group 1 and group 2. I'm going to put some pasta in the first group and then some pasta in the second group. Can you imagine that you've got two groups on the table in front of you? Perhaps you could use a bowl or plate or something else to represent these groups. Let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4. I put 4 pieces of pasta in my first group and 1, 2, 3 pieces of pasta in my second group. So I have 4 and 3, but I want to know how many I have altogether. What do I need to do? That's right, we can combine the groups to find out how many we have altogether. We're going to be adding, so I could use the addition number symbol. Can you count all of the objects you have in both groups to find out how many there are altogether? We had 4 objects in the first group and 3 in the second group, and I said that we were going to add them, so we need the addition symbol. To record this as a number sentence, I need another mathematical symbol. Can you remember what it is? That's right, I need the equals symbol. 4 add 3 equals... How many have you got when you add your two groups together? 7. Well done if you had 7 when you combined the two groups. Another one. I've got 2 empty groups again. This time I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of pasta in my first group and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of pasta in my second group. What can you tell me about the number of pieces of pasta in each group? That's right, they're the same. Can you make sure that you've got 5 pieces of pasta or 5 objects in both of your groups? I've got 5 and 5. I want to find the total by combining, so I'm going to use the addition symbol. I had 5 and 5. I used the addition symbol, and I'm going to use that equals symbol again as well. 5 add 5 equals... That's right, 10. You should have 10 objects or pieces of pasta altogether. Adults, we don't need to worry about the children recording in writing, but they can have a go if they want to. The important thing to reach the good level of development and the expected level in maths by the end of the reception year is that children understand that they can combine 2 groups of objects to find a total. This will mainly be objects or numbers less than 10. Can you use the objects that you have in front of you to solve these problems? Try these ones first. 4 add 2 equals. 6 add 3 equals. 5 add 4 equals. 6 add 6 equals. 7 add 5 equals. If you're feeling confident and you want a bit of a challenge, why not try these? 4 add 3 add 2 equals, 5 add 3 add 3 equals, 6 add 5 add something equals 14, 8 add 4 add something equals 17, 4 add 4 add something equals 16. Those missing number sentences are a bit of a challenge, so adults, don't worry if your child finds them difficult. Why don't you pause this screen or record all of these in your book? You could ask your adult for help. And then when you're ready, come back and we can finish the session. How did you feel about your learning today? If you're feeling confident when combining two groups and using the addition symbol, then put your thumbs up. If you found it a bit tricky, but you know what you can do to improve, put your thumb in the middle. And if it was really difficult and you want some more help from your adult, put your thumb down. You've tried really hard today, Uchimura Cox and Baker Bolt classes. Adults, there's lots of other things that you could be doing with these concrete objects, and it'd be really useful if you practice this combining little and often. Remember to check back and look at those 5 counting principles. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you soon.